So what's word?
Bring it on. Want some, get some. Can I get a hell yeah? Yes, I am a pirate.
You have to go with the pirates because, of course, they have cannons and everything.
It's a pirate's life for me.
Be proud of who you are and what you are. You're a pirate.
It is a first down. Pirates.
Because when you're at East Carolina, you go for it every time. Or you don't coach at East Carolina, you don't come to East Carolina, you don't play at East Carolina with a weak heart. Write it.
I think I've ever been in a building as loud as that was. It was deafening in there.
We will get them on. I can promise you that.
Painted purple all night long in Eastern North Carolina.
You're watching The Sports Objective, the podcast for Pirates.
Yeah. My heart is purple and gold. I'm a pirate down to my soul. And I don't back down not at all. Find out when the cannons explode.
All right, welcome in to TSO Sunday nights. Ladies and gentlemen, we are so excited because we have a really big game on Thursday night in Raleigh, North Carolina against the Wolfpack. And so at Carter-Finley Stadium, I got to bring in a man that's not going to be at the game, but I'm sure he will be watching the game. That's Kyle from LaGrange Barber. How are you?
Yeah, I reckon I'll be watching it. I mean, between that and the Boise State South Florida game, I might have to choose. But hell yeah, of course I'm going to be watching it. The only reason I'm not going to be there is because I've never gone to an away game at an ACC stadium just because I don't deal well with bullshit, and I don't want to get harassed as an opposing fan. And I don't do that to NC State fans. But I know damn well there's a chance of that happening. And while, at a bowl game, when the numbers are 50-50, you ain't got to worry about it. But some loudmouth, obnoxious NC State students say the wrong thing to me, I'm liable to get thrown out the stadium. So I'll be watching it on the television. Just like, is any of y'all going? I know Matt's not going to be there. Stevie won't be there. Dave, I don't think you're going to be there. JR, are you going?
Yeah, I'll represent for us. I'll be there.
All right, there we go.
Now, JR, will you be on the sideline?
Well, maybe, but that is not the immediate plan. A friend of the show, someone that we all, he just gave me an offer I couldn't turn down. I didn't plan on going, but we're going to be sitting in the assistant to the athletic director's box. Longtime Wolfpack legend, Bobby Purcell. So I'm going to have to be on my best behavior, but that's okay.
I couldn't do it.
Well, you know what? I'll also be insulated from any, objections.
From the taunts and chants. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, because that won't happen where we'll be. But hopefully, we'll walk out of there proud. I think that we will. So can't wait.
And don't forget, we'll have our preview show on Wednesday night. So a little tease there. And we're going to wait until then to give our predictions, unless Semenza wants to give his tonight. Are you coming on with us on Wednesday, Matt? I think you're going to be with us. I know
I'll be on Wednesday night. Yep. And
okay, all right. So that means that Matt is going to save his prediction, and everybody's going to save on the show. We'll save their prediction for the end of our preview show again on Wednesday night. Looking forward to that. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, and we'll have two special guests that night. We're going to have an interview with the play-by-play voice for East Carolina, Jim Zoki, and we will have from the Wolfpacker.com, Noah, and I'm going to screw his last name up. It is
Fleischman,
thank you. Noah Fleischman. Thank you, Stevie. And from the Wolfpacker.com, Noah Fleischman will be with us along with Jim Zoki. So it should be a big show Wednesday night, and we will give our predictions then. We're going to preview the game some tonight. It'll be a full breakdown Wednesday night.
Yeah, guys. Johnny Robertson, how are you doing tonight, bro?
Hey, man, it's just I'm doing great, thanks. But it's just different tonight. Like we're on the doorstep of the 2025 season kicking off, and I've just had a nervous energy for the last few days. It started with watching the college football game, yesterday, all those games, and I can't escape it. I mean, it's here, and let's get at it, man. I feel good. I feel good about what's going to happen.
No doubt. Stevie Fly, how are you doing, brother?
Doing good, Dave. How are you, bud?
I'm good. I passed by your area or near your area yesterday, and by the whatever the name of the theater is now, and Carolina Crossroads and
Weldon Mills Theater
Weldon
and the
Mills.
Carolina Crossroads. Yeah.
It's not the Stevie Fly Theater, but it will
Not
be.
yet. Not
That's-
yet.
Hey, speaking of Stevie Fly, Northeast Academy, look, I'm gonna give Stevie props here. You're talking about 8-man football. Stevie, right now, because of circumstances beyond his control, he had to play with 9 players Friday night as Northeast traveled to Community Christian Wilson. Community Christian Wilson has over 20 players. In my opinion, you probably shouldn't even be playing 8-man. They should be playing 11-man football with that many players. And Northeast jumped out to a 16-0 lead. Talk about your game a little bit, Stevie, before we get into DCU.
Okay, so Thursday night we find out 3 of our players aren't going to play. They were freshmen that played JV and varsity, so they decided they weren't going to play at the last minute. So we're down to 9. We went in.
And had a player out with a medical issue.
Yeah. We went in with the mindset, which we already had game planned to control the clock. And the first quarter went great. I mean, it went as great as you can expect. We held the ball out of 12 minutes, we held the ball for 10.5 minutes and got 2 touchdowns. It was 16-0, just like that. But second quarter was their quarter. It was tied at halftime, and we just we kind of slowed down the second half. But I'll tell you this, guys, and I know some of my guys are listening right now. It's no such thing as a good loss, but the confidence that it should have built for those guys to know that with 9 players and a lot of them, my whole offensive line had never started a game on the offensive line.
Oh.
And we ran for about 300 yards. One guy had over 200, and we had a couple more, but we ran for over 300 yards in total offense. And there was no problem. There was no problem with the line at all. That was not an issue. And that was one of my concerns with something that young, with a team that young and that line that young, that we were going to have issues there. But, and our defense just has to get better. We ended up losing 48-30, but that was a good Community Christian team. I think we can, if we can stay healthy, we can make some headways this year, hopefully. With 9 guys, it's just tough.
Yeah, you're not subbing. You're literally not subbing. They're playing both ways, offense and defense. You got one guy that you can sub in and out, and he's probably playing the whole game because he's constantly probably relieving someone. Then you're taking on a team with over 20 players. So they're able to sub, throughout the game. So it's just a simple numbers game. You get worn out. It's nothing to do with the starters. In fact, the fact that they have to play so damn much, they'll probably be very good by the end of the season if you can build some depth for next season. And it's not the coaching. Obviously, when things were even before the fatigue wore in, you were up 16-0, which means, in my opinion, if you guys had similar numbers, you'd kick their ass. So for any of your players that are listening, just think about that. It's just a simple numbers game. It's nothing to do with you boys. You boys just need more teammates.
Yeah, they played with a lot of heart. 6 guys played Ironman football the other night, played all 48 minutes. And the other 2, the only time they got out was one was subbed on kickoff and the other was subbed on kick return. And they were the two running backs. So I was trying to keep them as fresh as I could.
I hope you guys have a lot of Gatorade or Powerade or Pedialyte.
Yeah, that and pickle juice. I'll tell you a funny story, and I know we'll get on, but one of the best players I ever had, he played quarterback for me. His senior year, the first game, he had ran for over 100 yards that night. And it was a tight game. And late in the third quarter, he cramps up. And I said, dude, you got to drink some pickle juice or either get, either get some mustard, take some mustard. He said, I don't like the taste of either one of them.
I don't care.
So next thing I know, he's on the sidelines, and he kneels down, and I'm sitting there watching the game. I look down, I said, what are you doing? And he was rubbing mustard on his calves.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
No, he was not.
And I was like, dude, that's not what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to it's got to get through your system. Well, it's working. I can feel the cramp coming out already. I said, whatever works.
You're rubbing your leg.
I said, whatever works for you, buddy. As long as you don't cramp up the rest of the night, I'm good. So,
Well, you got to tell them take that pickle juice and mix it with a little Bud Light. It'll go down easier.
Oh, God.
Hey, Stevie, I always tell people that sometimes just showing up to a game is a win. You know what I'm saying? Like, they don't understand, like, well, he's cheating. She's cheating on me with this other guy on the team, and there's all kinds of drama in the locker room.
Yeah.
This, that, and the other. So
we've avoided that for the most part this year. So hopefully that doesn't rear its ugly head again. Yeah, I see Cindy is not a fan of pickle juice, but yeah, it does wonders when you're cramping up. And Justin,
I've heard that for years that pickle juice really helps.
Yeah. It helps. It really does. Justin, I did mention your name to the rest of the referee crew, and they were like, who the hell is Justin Butts? I don't even know who that is. So, I mean, I don't know, Justin. You tell me. Now, one guy didn't know who you were.
Yeah, we actually have a
Stevie said he was 84 years old, the one guy who knew who Justin was.
Yep. He was up there, dude. He was up there.
Hey, Matt, I have a friend of mine that he calls pickle juice. That's his name for alcohol. So he always tells somebody he's going to drink pickle juice. You know that you're probably he needs to stay at home. Anyway, Matt, welcome to the show. Obviously, brother, appreciate you very much. And we'll go ahead and talk Pirate football. How are you feeling, Matt? How are you feeling about the game overall? It's finally the season's here.
Yeah, I'm feeling great. I'm feeling a lot like JR. I definitely woke up today with a little different edge. Definitely starting to get really excited about this game now that we're into game week, and watching the games yesterday, I think kind of got me in that mode. I was kind of locked in on the Stanford Hawaii game last night, and today I had an opportunity to go back and watch the Military Bowl against NC State just to try to find some takeaways that things that we might try to exploit and use to our favor this week. So definitely a lot to talk about. And I'm excited for game week. And Stevie, great job. That's not easy to do, my friend, with 9 players.
Thank you, bud. Appreciate it.
Matt, you mentioned on your research that you noticed the success we had. I believe it was you that mentioned it. If not, correct me, JR, if it was you or Bubba. The success that we had pressuring the quarterback against NC State in the bowl game.
Yeah, and I'm going to let JR actually came up with some great stats, and then I'll kind of share what I saw on film as well. But yeah, JR, I'll let you jump in and take that one.
Okay. So CJ Bailey, he had 33 dropbacks in the pocket, and we blitzed him 16 times out of 33, almost 50%. And when we didn't blitz him, he had an 85.7 completion ratio and 11.4 yards per completion. When we did blitz him, he had a 58.3 percentage completion and 5.9 yards per completion. And, as I mentioned to Matt, the 33-yard trick play when they scored the go-ahead touchdown, I mean, we were blitzing on that play, so that was a 33-yard touchdown to Smothers. And that counts against those numbers. So, I mean, if you take that away, it's even more impressive.
Yeah. And, that's Johnny. First of all, great job with those stats, because those are the type of things that, trust me, Blake Harrell has been seeing that number all summer. And when you watch the game, when you really go back and watch it, it makes perfect sense because when Bailey was effective, we were typically rushing 3, maybe 4 guys, and we weren't getting any pressure. And when you give him time, he does have a strong enough arm, and he's pretty accurate where he can make a good throw. But when we got after him and dialed up pressure and started bringing extra blitzers, we really got him. We moved him off of his spot in the pocket and made him start to run, and he was far less effective. So, you can't. It's a fine line. You don't want to blitz too much, especially when you have new corners like we do this year, because you're leaving those corners on an island and you're risking big plays. But at the same time, you have to know when to take your chances and get after him. And I think we're going to have similar numbers in terms of a 40-60 blitz versus sort of a base defense look. But yeah, I mean, I think that's a really good job there.
Matt, and all you guys, Coach Aldridge really thinks that our defensive ends are going to be able to get pressure. He's mentioned a lot. He thinks we're going to be able to get pressure with our D line. If he's right, if that's an accurate assumption, it would be nice to be able to get pressure on Bailey without having to blitz so much.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that's best case scenario for any defense. When you can get home without bringing an extra rusher, you're in business, because you're going to be able to cover people up on the back end and do your thing up front. So, hey, if we can get home with 4, it's going to be a great day for us, Kyle. And I hope that happens. I'm a little bit on the fence. I kind of need to see our D-line get pressure before I, feel too good about it. But I hope you're right, man.
No, it's not what I think. It's just comments he's made. And, does he think we're going to be able to get pressure against an ACC O-line versus, a Sun Belt or American O-line, without blitzing? I wouldn't think so. I think we're going to have to bring pressure. I feel good about our safeties. My question is the corners. I do think the corners have potential. The kid from ODU, he seems to he's solidified himself and put a good numbers ODU. And then the kid from Western Carolina was an FCS All-American. So I think we have potential at corner, but it just seems like that's the big question mark. They seem pretty confident about the safety position in the secondary.
Hey, by the way, Cindy says, cannot wait to hear Kyle on the fifth quarter show Thursday night after we win. Kyle always had the passion and helps us a lot.
Yeah, well, hopefully after we win, that'll be the phone call. It'll be a nice, positive phone call, fired up, and getting ready for the next week and celebrating a win. As long as we play well. Look, it's hard to beat a team back-to-back games. NC State is a rivalry game. We just beat them in a bowl game. Dave Doran knows what this game means to his job.
Yeah.
This is going to be a tough one to win. Forget the on-the-field stuff, just the intangibles. And most of the time against NC State, the intangibles go in our favor. I don't think that's the case this time, and that's what really concerns me about this game. It's not the X's and O's. It's not the Jimmies and Joes. It's the intangibles. And it concerns me that this is a rare situation where it ain't our – well, we just beat them. So NC State ain't taking the it ain't our Super Bowl approach. Doran even changed his press conference to have it last Thursday. He didn't want the extra attention and have it on the normal day, Monday. I mean, he's locked in. I kind of wonder if he's put too much pressure on this game. If they beat us, how much have they worked on themselves versus working on us? How will they be the rest of the year? And you put so much emphasis on winning this game, and then you lose this game. I mean, they're probably done for the year. So, NC State, I mean. So, Cindy, I hope I am calling into Pirate Radio celebrating a win, but I'll give my prediction Wednesday along with everybody else, but we'll see.
Kenny says, game wink, gentlemen.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's correct,
Absolutely.
Kenny.
Orm says, cameras on Stevie, Kyle, and JR.
You don't want my camera on.
You don't want my camera on either. Yeah. I'm looking very close at my phone. There, who asked for the cameras on?
Norm,
I'm looking very close at my phone to see it well. So you would just see a real close up of my face. If I ever take the time to set up my laptop again to do this show instead of my phone, I'll get back on camera. But the reason I don't get on camera is because I typically do it from my phone and I'm looking at it very close versus when I used to do it on the laptop when I did get on camera.
Cindy says they only have one question for tonight. Can you tell us about what, as far as she's talking about the roundtable, what y'all are worried about Thursday night, if anything, the defense, offense, QB, running back, or anything?
Yeah, I think Kyle pretty much just said what he was worried about. Now,
for me, it's the intangibles. It's the fact that we have to beat them 2 games in a row. They're going to be very prepared for this game. No talk of it's not a rivalry. NC State has this game circled the way we typically have it circled. So that's what concerns me most about this game. JR, what about you from you're a stat guy? So from an X's and O standpoint, what concerns you most?
Good. Well, I'm glad you asked, Kyle, because Smothers is who I'm concerned about the most, but not for the reasons that people think. He's got a lot of speed, and people think, oh, get him out in space, and he's a handful. But he ran the ball 15 times against us in the Military Bowl, and 8 of his carries were in the A gap. He had 103 yards, 4 first downs, 3 runs of 10 or more yards, and 12.9 yards a carry. The rest of his 7 runs, he only had 36 yards and 5.1 yards per carry. So, you think of him as an outside guy, but you better pay attention of him in the A gap, because that's where he likes to, do his damage. So he worries me. One thing that doesn't worry me anymore is Tamarcus Cooley. He had 2 picks against us in Annapolis. And now, instead of watching him on Thursday, we're going to be watching him on Saturday play for LSU against Clemson. So maybe he got there because of the 2 picks. I'm not sure how he ended up in Baton Rouge, but I'm not sorry to see him go.
I'll tell you, JR, man, you literally nailed it. You said exactly what I was going to say in terms of the guy I think that we really need to be concerned with is Hollywood Smothers. We need to bottle him up because he had a monster game in that bowl game, and he's a pretty dynamic player. I mean, he's a smaller back, very quick, has the ability to kind of, slip in between O linemen, has the ability to make you miss. He can catch it out of the backfield, and he's a really good runner with the ball in his hands, obviously. So he's the guy, I think, when this game is over, especially from a defensive perspective, if Hollywood Smothers ran for 150 plus yards and had 40 yards receiving out of the backfield, it's probably going to be a loss. We're going to have to bottle him up a little bit. And then, my other thought is, and this is going back to something you mentioned, Kyle, all the pressure is on NC State in this game. All the pressure. Our guys should go in there free. We should go in there loose. Dave Doran is clearly in a situation where he needs this game to save his job. And you can sense that when you watch him in press conferences, guys. You can see sort of the anxiety on this guy's face. I mean, he's always uptight and no personality. He's got a horrible personality, but you can really see the, sort of like the anxiety on his face. And so all the pressure's on NC State. It's in their building. We beat them last time. They're supposed to be the big brother. So I think we go in there, we play with house money, just like the bowl game. And I feel really good about this game. I expect our offense to have a big, big day.
Yeah.
Let me ask Stevie, Dave, y'all about to talk.
I was going to say something. Go ahead, Kyle. I'll get it after you.
Okay. I was going to ask you guys, kind of combining you guys talking about Hollywood Smothers and then what I was talking about the intangibles. Last year after our bowl game, and of course, Hollywood Smothers is, well-known running back, but all the talk was about our running back, Rajay Harris. So do you think that's even more motivation for Hollywood to have a big game to kind of match what Rajay did against the Pack last December?
Well, I'll jump in. Because I just watched the game today, and I'll tell you guys, Rajay Harris, that was the best game I've ever seen him play. He was phenomenal in that game. He was absolutely phenomenal. He played on a whole nother level that night. His ability to, first of all, he was very fast. His ability to make cuts, which you saw on the last touchdown. But we were at field level, and he was not going down with one defender. It took 2 or 3 guys to bring him down. So my point is, we're going to need a running back to really step up and play a hell of a game. But yeah, to your point, Kyle, I do think Smothers was a little overlooked because of Rajay's big performance, and he's going to want to make a statement for sure.
Well, I think he's going to. Let me bring in Ethan, what he had to say.
Yeah, that's one of the points I want to make right there. That tight end, Jolie, I think that's how you say his name.
Yeah.
That guy, that's something that worries me right there. That guy can get open, and if we shut Hollywood down, that's a weapon there that we need to watch out for. That's a name that a lot of people probably aren't thinking about. I'm glad you put it up there, Ethan, because that was going to be one of my points there. I maybe the Rogers kid too, but Jolie was one that actually worried me too.
And Bailey gained 35 pounds too. They were talking about that. Yeah, I was going to.
That's not going to help us. That shouldn't help his mobility. Bailey gained 35 pounds.
Yeah, he did.
Wow.
I haven't heard that. I mean, that should make him stronger, like a big David Garrard type son of a bitch. But you wouldn't think it would help his speed any.
I don't know. I'll tell you what, guys. I agree with you, Matt, 1,000% with the fact that go in there loose, because Dave Doran had his press conference, and I saw it tonight, and he was definitely looking tight. And typical Dave Doran, nothing. I didn't hear anything. I'll have to go back and listen to it closer. I was helping my kids. They had their first day of school tomorrow, so good luck to all the kids going back to school for a great year. But anyway, Dave Doran, there's Pack fans. I've said this like 3 weeks in a row, that they're not happy with Doran, and they feel like this is a group that they haven't won a ACC championship since 1979. That's not David talking smack. That's a fact, Jack. It was at Stripes. So 1979 is the last time. So the reason I'm bringing that up is they don't think Dave Doran has done good enough. And oh my God, you lost to ECU in a bowl game. You should have won that game. And so definitely this game right here, there's podcasts that were going crazy in the offseason about how if Dave loses this job, loses this game, he's going to lose his job. I don't think it goes – I wouldn't go that far, but you better win. They're saying – I don't know if you guys have heard this. Their state fans are saying that Doran has to win 9 games to save his job. I want to get y'all's take on that before I forget.
I don't know about that. I mean, it's hard to fire a guy going 8-4 or something like that.
If he loses this game and goes,
he might not make it.
No. If he loses this game, I mean, you wouldn't think a coach would be fired after week 1, but man, I think it's it shouldn't be the equivalent to us losing to Charlotte, because certainly we've been around a lot longer and have a much better football program than Charlotte, but. Make no mistake about it, 2 years ago's performance for the season for Mike Houston led to him getting fired after Charlotte. But that Charlotte game got him fired the following week against Army. So it's kind of a similar situation. If State loses to us, Doran might not get fired immediately after that, but 2 games from now, if he loses again or something like that, he'll probably be gone. So it could be a very similar situation. I do, to bring that up, you guys mentioned Doran being tight. Well, who knows? Maybe we'll get lucky. Maybe we'll get lucky and we'll have the same results that Charlotte had against us last year when we went in their tight.
Have you seen their schedule?
States?
The state has.
I haven't paid attention to it beyond our game.
I haven't either. To be honest with you, I hadn't either.
Well, they do have a common opponent in Campbell, but they've got Notre Dame, they've got Georgia Tech, they've got Pitt. They've got number 10 Miami. They have
that's all in order. So who do they play? Camp? No, we play Campbell after that.
No, they play
UVA next.
They have Virginia.
And what is a non-conference game too?
Yeah, that's
I hate that. I hate that.
That's idiotic. It's idiotic.
At Wake Forest, at Duke. That's not an easy game. Virginia Tech. Campbell is October 4th. They have number 6 Notre Dame. Pitt on the road. Georgia Tech is going to be very good this year. Number 10 Miami, and Florida State, gentlemen.
Yeah, it's a tough path to get to 9 wins for sure. Even 8 wins. I mean, I'm not worried about NC State beyond us, honestly, but it is interesting looking at their schedule. Now, here's the thing: if we do upset them, and it will be an upset, this 11.5-point spread last time I checked. Still, I thought it would be going down by now. I haven't checked the line today. I don't know if any of you guys have, but let's say they lose to the Pirates, and then they go lose to UVA, he'll be gone. I don't think he would get fired immediately after losing to us, but another loss or 2, he'd be out of there. So, tough way to start the season with ECU and UVA back to back.
Just the fact that you got ECU game 1, and I wanted to get Matt, being a former player, I want to get your thoughts, and maybe Stevie coaching. But as you guys know, game 1, anything can happen. I know that we had Cindy says that It's still 11.5 on FanDuel, by the way, Kyle.
12 on ESPN bet.
Yeah. So anyway, we'll see how it goes. I like the fact we're underdogs. I like that. I think we do better when we're underdogs and nobody's giving us a chance.
It's interesting. It's 11.5 and it's going up to 12.5 at some spots on Vegas Insider. So
Here-
it is going that way. It's not coming down. It is the money's going in their favor. So I don't like that.
What do they know?
Well, that's a good question. That's why I don't like it. I think it's our defense that they being the betters are squeamish about. So I think that's the question.
I think they're listening to our favorite podcast over there in Raleigh.
Here's the thing, Dave. We may be underdogs as far as the line goes and stuff, but just like Kyle said before, Dave Doran is focused on this game. I mean, they're not overlooking ECU as they may have in years past,
or claim they have,
exactly. But I mean, they are, like you said, they have circled this on their calendar since after that bowl game last year. They're not going to go in there like all we got to do is show up and we're going to roll over these guys.
And you know what, guys, when you have that mentality, like, we're gonna lock in for this game and we're gonna show up against ECU this year, as State does, or at least they say they claim to have that. That's on them. That's on their coach for not having their team ready to play.
Right.
So that's a major indictment on Dave Doran, because the last thing you ever want to hear if you're a coach is your players say, "Hey, we just weren't focused on little old ECU, and that's why they won," which is, we all know that's a bunch of BS.
Oh yeah.
But so I think that's an indictment on Dave Doran, and I think those are just the type of excuses we've grown accustomed to hearing from people over in Raleigh there. So again, but yeah, Dave, you were going to ask a question. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there. Go ahead.
No, the very fact of being this time of year, you have with us and going into that game, you were talking about playing loose house money. The pressure is going to be on them. And I tell you what, Brandon says ESPN has State -13. I'm telling you guys right now, I'm not a betting man. That would be one of the guys on the I don't want to throw that guy out, but single that guy out. But 13 points is a lot of points, guys. A lot of points. I won't say.
I'm not seeing it at 13. ESPN doesn't take bets. But DraftKings, they do now. Okay.
Yeah, they got ESPN bet. That's what.
Okay, all right. Well, DraftKings has it at 12.5. Vegas Insider shows different places. Some places still have it at 11.5. Some places have 12.5. But it is definitely going back in favor of the Wolfpack. I thought the line would come down to between 8 and 10. I was wrong, and it still could fluctuate some. But if it keeps heading in that direction, that concerns me. Not betting trends aren't always right, particularly in week one, but it lots of times is a good indicator. So that I don't like that.
But Matt, what I was going at is that because of the fact that it's week one, it's better to have them week one than towards the end of the season, right? Because
I disagree with that 100%.
No, but what I'm getting at is they don't know about some of the plays that we have, some of the new additions we have, because Mike Wright is definitely going to. We've had that conversation in the chat. Mike Wright is definitely going to play. I don't know how many plays that'll be, but Matt, maybe you can talk about any kind of packages you see for him. But he's definitely going to play, and for me, I just see that. I just see it as a game where, like you guys said, there's more pressure on NC State. And go ahead, Matt. I'm sorry.
No, that was me.
I mean,
no, it was Matt. I'm sorry, Matt. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, to your point, Dave, week one, you never know what you're gonna get. I mean, if you guys, and I know you all pretty much did, watch everybody listening to the first half of the Kansas State Iowa State game yesterday was brutal to watch. I mean, yes, the weather conditions were bad, but those teams were very rusty and very sloppy. I mean, that was a really hard game to watch at times. And so a lot of times in week one, you don't know what you're going to get. And that is where coaching is so important, in particular in week one, because whoever comes out of camp the most game ready, in particular in the first half, can have a major advantage. And so, from ECU's perspective, you just hope that we're ready to go. We're buttoned up in all areas, special teams, the kicking game, everything, because if you can jump on these guys early, all the pressure goes to NC State. And it's just going to be really important to come out and do that and try to jump on them right away.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I do. Jared, hold on. I'm just going to say this.
No. Go ahead, Kyle.
What I meant was that if I had my druthers after just playing them in the bowl game, I would not want to play them week one. No, I'd much rather play them later in the year. And historically, if you look at our record against them, we've only beat them in recent memory. If you go back to 87 and stuff like that, we did. But in recent memory, we've only beat them at once, game one. They've been pretty successful against us when we played them early in the year. We traditionally do better against them later in the year. So, no, I'd much rather play this game later versus game one. But I get what you're saying in terms of the unknowns, but that goes both ways. We both have transfers. But go ahead, JR.
Well, you just made a compelling case against my comment, but I was going to agree with I was going to agree with Dave that I would rather have them early, just because they have the two new coordinators now. I mean, really, their offensive coordinators. He's in his 7th year there. Kurt Roper's been with State. This will be his 7th year, but on defense, DJ Elliott was brought in because they are terrible against the run and have been for a couple of years. He's a linebackers coach. So, I guess he is going to concentrate on stopping the run, but they don't have the pieces yet. But hey, Matt, I wanted to ask you a question. They have a guy, All-American candidate last year, Caden Fordham, and he's a linebacker. He tore his ACL on October 10th, and he's going to play on Thursday night. Now, with all that lateral movement, I mean, is the surgical procedures gotten that advanced that I just can't believe that he's going to be doing that.
Did he go down to Birmingham? Do you know where he had the surgery? There's a place in Birmingham, and I can't think of the doctor's name, but they're the best.
Andrews, Kyle.
Dr. Andrews, yes. They're the best at ACL, MCL surgeries.
Yep.
Dr. Andrews will get you ready faster than anybody. So, JR, if you could research that, I'd like to know if he went to Dr. Andrews down to Birmingham.
Here's my final comment on NC State game is speaking of DJ Elliott, their new defensive coordinator. Another reason I'm not real intimidated by him is the last game he coached as a defensive coordinator was against the Pirates, and we hung 49 points and 534 yards at them. And that was the last game of the season against Temple in 2022. That's the last time.
Yeah, he was the defensive coordinator at Temple at that time and put up 49 points on them. Oddly enough, I asked my wife Jessica to predict the score of the game. She had no idea that dude was the defensive coordinator at Temple, and we put 49 points on him. She said East Carolina 49, NC State 45. Final score of that game was 49-46. Totally coincidental.
No, that was the game I walked out on for a minute.
It was. You had no idea we won that game. That is an epic story for anybody that listens and don't know this.
The E.J. Warner game. Or
E.J. Warner, yes. E.J. Warner had frustrated Matt so much, and we had blown that game. It looked like we were going to lose it, and Matt turned off the TV, and Holton hits the bomb with about a minute left, and we win the game. And
we won.
Yeah, so me and Bubba are texting, going back and forth about how Holton threw across his body, and you were like, no, yes, touchdown. And then the defense held up and had a great stop there at the end. And Matt says, "What the hell are y'all talking about? We won."
Well, I was so annoyed with Warner just torching our defense that day. I couldn't take it for another second. I mean, we made him look like Tom Brady that day. I mean, he looked like Tom Brady. Anyway, yeah.
So we are. So Pace had I put that comment up, but I'll put it back up. We're 2-4 in opening games versus NC State. So
that would be 87, and it would be 87 in 2016.
No, 83.
83.
So we're due.
So that's not right then, because we also beat them in an opening game.
No, they're talking about no, that was not the opening game in 26. Western Carolina was the opening game in 2016. But this was that against. Is that
Oh, you're correct. You're correct. I'm sorry. You're correct. That was game 2. You are correct.
Yeah, because after the reason I remember it is because that's after that game and was the third game of Mo's career. They go to
South Carolina. Yeah,
the wheels came off. I mean,
yeah,
anyway.
you're correct. I totally forgot we had opened up against an FCS before NC State. So 2-4 in opening games against the Wolfpack. And the last time we won in Raleigh, good God, when was that?
Help me out. I don't.
13. It would have been 13.
Oh yeah, with the purple gold chant in the fourth quarter. Because everybody.
So 12 years. So we're due to win in Raleigh also.
Absolutely. You know, guys, just kind of, let's get David's comment first, and then
Pirates have a history of winning big games in Carter-Finley. You know, our buddy Jay Sunhalter. Jay actually had that big game in what was that, 2006? But that was towards the end of the year in November.
That was the last game of the regular season. Yeah.
But
Andre Allison right before halftime.
Yeah, I tell you what, the game itself, I do agree with you, Kyle. And one of the things we talked about on this, not to say we're conceding a game, but what I don't want it to be, Kyle and guys, is the fact that this is our quote unquote Super Bowl. If we lose NC State, the whole season's ruined. We can still win 11 games. If you're 11-1, you're going to be going to, with our schedule, you're going to be going to the playoff. So if you had that,
I mean, I don't think that's going to happen. But
no.
Yeah, if we were to go 11-1, that would be a win over BYU, win over Memphis, win over Army, win over Tulane. We would certainly. It would probably be between us and Boise who would get that Group of 5 playoff spot. And that's something we need to build towards. That's something that's a realistic goal that, again, I spoke about that on a podcast a few weeks ago, that we need to start building towards, thinking we can make the playoff. A Group of 5 school is going to do it every year now, soon to be Group of 6 with the return of the Pac-12. It ain't got to be Boise. It ain't got to be Memphis. It ain't got to be Tulane. It can be us. So, but that ain't going to be this year. But no, the NC State game does not make or break our season. If we win that game and then go on to have a losing season, well, it's a great moment, but it's a shitty season. If we lose this game and then go on to win 8 games, well, we've had a good season, and the NC State game's an afterthought. So it doesn't make or break your season. The only thing that's going to really upset me in this game is if we play poorly. If we go out there and get beat like 42-14. But if we lose this game, 35-24, 38-35, 41-38, anything 10 points or less and we play well, I'm going to move on to Campbell. I mean, like I say, to me, everything is going against us in this game. So I'm not conceding defeat by any means, but just stating the fact this game doesn't make or break our season. And we're Bailey grew since last year. Tall and yeah, we've talked about that, John. Put on 35 pounds apparently. I don't. How does that help you as a quarterback, Stevie, Matt? Putting on that amount of weight as a quarterback, is it going to make him have a stronger arm? I wouldn't think it would improve his mobility, but it should make his body be able to take punishment better.
He'll be able to take the hits, and when he runs, I know Cindy, I think, was talking about, she was worried because he was so hard to take down. That'll make him that much harder to take down too. But I'm sure it's not going to be 35 pounds of fat, or he wouldn't be playing quarterback. It's going to be muscle. So yeah, that's going to make him even harder to take down in this game. I don't think it. I mean, you have to give up some mobility, but I don't think it's going to be that much. I would think so, or they wouldn't have. The coaches would have been kind of concerned about that.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, like, for me, like, the big thing is when we do get him off his mark and he leaves the pocket, we need to make him pay for it. We need to be really physical with him and really, really hit him as hard as possible and take some starch out of him. But yeah, I don't know if that's a good thing or bad thing. 35 pounds is a lot of weight to gain in such a short period of time. Yeah. That can really slow you down. He's probably taking a ton of creatine and retaining a ton of water, but I'll tell you guys one thing, just to kind of go back to that again. Had a chance to go back today and watch the Military Bowl, and we talked about Rajay, just how fantastic he was in that game. I mean, he took our offense to another level. But the other point I wanted to make is that John David Baker was masterful in that game with his play calling. He did things in that bowl game that he didn't do all season, and I'll give you a few examples. Number one, we ran speed option with Caton Hauser very effectively. We ran it into the boundary a few times where Caton, the defensive end, committed to Caton, and he pitched it to Rajay for big games down the sideline. And then we also saw on a touchdown in the second half, we ran speed option to the field. Caton, the defensive end, left a gap and to pick off Rajay, and Caton cut it up and scored a touchdown there. So we saw speed option. We didn't really see that look much all last year. The other wrinkle he put in, guys, was wide receiver screen. Something I've been screaming for the last several years is more wide receiver screens. And when you have a guy like Yannick Smith, he is a perfect guy to get the ball out to the perimeter and work wide receiver screens. And you saw it in that game. So you saw some adjustments there, more running with Caton Hauser, in particular the speed option. You saw wide receiver screens. We didn't attack them vertically much in that game, and that was probably because of what he saw on film. But, really great job there. I think NC State's defense is really in for a long day, guys. I firmly believe that. I love this offense we're about to put on the field. We have playmakers. We have a quarterback in year two. I expect this to be a dogfight and a shootout. So the 13 for me seems very extreme, very extreme.
It's disrespectful. I think it's disrespectful because I've heard people say we, meaning East Carolina, have lost a lot. And I say, guess what? NC State has lost. Johnny and Matt may know that because they're the portal experts, but they've lost. It's kind of like a moot point. It's like a wash because both teams have lost a lot, and that's the era we're in. And between graduation and guys moving on, I don't think that's an issue. And Coach Aldridge, by the way, guys, hopefully don't mind me saying, he's not worried about the D-line. That's what he told me. I asked him point blank.
Yeah, no, he indicated the same thing to me. That's what I was talking about earlier. He thinks we're going to get pressure with our ends. So he's not concerned about the D-line. He thinks that may be the strength of our defense. So we'll see.
Tells me if our D-line is strong, that helps us with Smothers. That helps us with, is it Jolie?
It helps with everything. It helps with your passing game because if you don't have the blitz mode, you can get pressure, then it helps with everything. But I'm like, Matt, I'll believe it when I see it. To me, the D-line on paper is too many questions.
Well, Matt, Bailey, when you and Johnny were talking about the pressure, talk about that very thing. How do you get pressure on Bailey? Because if you get pressure on Bailey, we saw that he was not as accurate as Johnny was talking about earlier. So is that really the key for our defense, is making sure that he doesn't have time to throw and he can stand there back in the pocket and just pick us apart all day long? You're on mute, Matt.
Whoops. Sorry, I was on mute. First part of that is like, how do you get pressure on him? Well, you got to show multiple fronts. You got to show 3 down fronts. You got to show 4 down fronts. You got to mix up your coverages, cover 3, cover 2, cover 9. You create confusion. And then when you bring extra blitzers from different angles, maybe you bring, last year in that bowl game, there was one point they had the ball on the hash. We brought a corner blitz from the boundary. I don't know if you remember that, Stevie, but there's just so many things you could do. But it all starts with mixing up your looks, mixing up your coverages, showing different fronts, and creating confusion. And that's something I think Blake Harrell is great at. He talks about, Stevie, and I'll kick this over to you, but like whenever you ask Blake Harrell and now Aldrich what type of defense he runs, he always, the first thing he says is like, it's multiple. It's a multiple defense, right?
Yeah, you don't want to put yourself in a corner with one defense. I mean, we run 3 or 4 different defenses a game. That way, any college team that plays one defense a game is going to pretty much be a losing college football team. You got to give them different looks. You got to disguise your looks and give this guy something to think about. And Blake, with Blake being a defensive-minded coach, I'm not really concerned about that. I think he always does a good job with giving them different looks.
Yeah, we'll be multiple, and nobody puts baby in a corner.
Yeah, thank you, Dirty Dancing, John. Yeah, that very fact. I tell you what. With the very fact of NC State fans are expecting to win this game, as they should, but I tell you what, they may only win 4 or 5 games, guys. If you look at their schedule, so I think that puts my point is to bring that up. Is that puts more pressure on them. They've got to win game 1 against us. And Matt, do you feel like that would they have more pressure on that, knowing that you've got a really difficult schedule? After you got Campbell on the schedule like we do, but otherwise you've got a lot of great opponents.
Yeah, I mean, just like I said, I think the biggest thing is like if you can jump on them early and if you can take a lead in this game, I think that goes a long way because it kind of gets them thinking, here we go again, right? It creates pressure, puts pressure on Doran. The fan base gets out of it a little bit. So I think you just jump on them early, man. I mean, they're going to try to take it one game at a time. But certainly, I mean, it's a big game for both teams.
I do have a question for you guys real quick, and I'll pitch it to you afterwards, Cal. Do you take the ball first or do you defer to the second half? And I'll pitch it to Cal afterwards.
I'll answer it. It's a philosophy thing. What I would do, I always take it first in the second half. That's just my philosophy. But I know when Ruffin was here with Lincoln, we always took it first because he wanted to start on offense. I saw we did both last year. I think if you left it up to, JDB, he would want it first.
Yeah.
Blake, I'm not sure. First game of the year. If you feel strong about what you have on offense and you want to take that momentum and take the Wolfpack out of that crowd, take the crowd out of the game, this may be, even though my instincts tell me to take the ball first, take it in the second half, because of what we have on offense, because JDB may have some wrinkles up his sleeve. If you could score on that first drive and take the Wolfpack crowd out of the game a little bit, that might be the way to go. So I'm torn on this. But I may lean towards taking the ball first in this particular situation. I normally never would do that.
Well, the fact that, like Matt said, you punch him in the mouth, right? You go ahead and give him like a knockout punch, or you give him a really good punch, so that you don't want it the other way around, where all of a sudden we're down 14-0, 17-0, 17-7. You want to make sure you go ahead and you get up early. And I really believe. Do you guys remember the South Carolina game when Tyler Snead? What was that, a halfback pass? Remember that first play of the game? What Donnie called?
Yeah, to 88. Who do you throw that to? The little wide receiver.
Yeah, it'll come to me in a minute. But
the Hatfield.
Thank you. Desai Hatfield.
Desai Hatfield. Yeah.
Yeah, you guys. Quickly, Dave asked that question, then I'm the only one to answer. You guys quickly, Matt. What would you do in that situation? Would you take it, or would you defer?
Kyle, I totally agree with everything you said there. And in certain games, I want the ball. I want to defer. In this game, I just want the ball. And like I said, I feel good about the offense. I want to put them back on their heels a little bit. So I personally would want the ball.
JR, Stevie?
Yeah, I'll tell you this. I'm usually, when over the years, majority of the time, I'll defer. And I got talked into it Friday night to, by my offensive coordinator. He felt really good about it. So he was like, just get the ball first. And I said, okay, we did it. So we got the ball first. Worked out pretty good. And when your offense is your strong point, like Matt said, your offense is your strong point, and you know that the offense can put up some points, explosive. Get them on the field first. Try to take that crowd out of the game. The crowd's going to be pumped up. First game, Thursday night game, ACC Network. You need to take that crowd out of the game as quick as you can, and a good drive. Maybe I'm not saying a quick score. I'll take it, but if you just run it down their throat, pass the ball, and just move the ball down the field, take about 5 or 6 minutes off the clock, kind of discourage that defense a little bit. Yeah, I'll take the ball first.
JR?
That's a good one. I've been going back and forth on it. I want the ball in the second half, so I'd probably want to play defense first.
Okay.
I tell you, with NC State, I mean, I don't know. I have a feeling that with one of the things I was going to say, Kyle and guys, is that don't you feel like we have more offensive weapons than we did last year? It feels that way. Look at the running back.
Potentially.
Yeah.
I mean, we had some weapons last year. You know, you had Winston Wright. He's gone. You had Sowell, who he didn't light it up yesterday against for Iowa State, but he's gone. But you know, you look around and you got Anthony Smith year 2. You got
Yannick Smith.
Zonic Smith. Who? Wait a minute. What?
Yannick Smith also.
Thank you, Yannick. I don't know what's wrong with me. Yannick Smith. You know, his second year here, he's truly year 2 as a sophomore. Anthony Smith year 2 as a Pirate. You know, you got Padaway coming in from Oklahoma, who they have talked up like he's going to be the next, you know, who knows, Dwayne Harris. So we'll see. Hopefully Padaway is as advertised. And there's some other young receivers. So then you look at the running back room. We have 3 quality running backs, but no Rajay Harris. So potentially we have more weapons. I'll tell you what we do have, Dave, is we have a second-year quarterback who's second year in this system. We have an offensive coordinator that's the second year in this system. And David is right there in the comments. Our tight end room is strong. The experience of this offense in year 2, to me, when you look how it clicked the second half of the year once we got the quarterback in place, we will miss Rajay Harris. But I think with the weapons we do have, whether it's more or less or equal to, I think the fact that it's year 2 in this system will make the biggest difference. We should be strong from day one on offense.
No doubt. And, you know, keep going back. And we've talked about this a lot, guys, over the last month. But, you know, and we know we're going to use 3 running backs. But somebody's got to step up and really assume that role and be the guy.
I think Marlon Gunn wants to. After having, I encourage anybody who hasn't listened to the interviews that I did at Media Day to go listen to them on YouTube or SoundCloud. But talking to Marlon, you could tell he really wants to step into that leadership role. I like the talent of Montgomery, and I like the talent of the young man from Houston. I can't think of his name right now.
Is it Parker?
Yes, Parker.
Yep.
I interviewed them both. I interviewed him and Montgomery together, so I should know. And I like all 3 of them. And Parker Jenkins, I have a really good feeling about, but I can tell you from a leadership standpoint, Marlon Gunn, whether he ends up being the primary back or the most used back, I do think he will be the vocal leader in that running back room.
Yeah, and the thing about Marlon Gunn, he's 215 pounds. I mean, he is a solid back. And the thing is, by all accounts, he's healthy. And when you watched him last year, he just wasn't the same guy. He kind of like lost some of that burst we saw his freshman year, and he wasn't healthy. So I think that's the key for him. He's by all accounts, he feels great, and he is a tough dude to bring down one-on-one. I mean, that's a big 215 strong back coming downhill at you. So yeah, I think he's going to be the guy to get the first crack at it, and then. But I do see when we run that speed option, I love the idea, guys, speed option with London Montgomery to try to get on the perimeter a little bit with that speed.
Parker's fast too, Matt.
Yeah, and Parker too. So definitely good to have. Hey, 3 is better than having just one guy you can count on for sure.
No doubt. Hey, guys, and we're going to break down, we're getting towards the end of the show, but we're going to break down the NC State game more on Wednesday. It'll be an hour show and we'll have 2 guests, but want to talk about some other things while we're here on the air. First, to wrap up the NC State topic, we'll pitch this to Mr. Semenza. Matt, did you want to address the loudmouth punk that doesn't have the balls to answer tweets from the NC State podcast?
Kyle,
I didn't want any parts of that.
Nobody could have framed that up better than you just did, I'll tell you. I do want to mention this actually because I took offense to it. Now I don't, I live in Connecticut. I lived in Greenville many years ago for 5 years, but I'm very defensive about Greenville. Great people, great community. I consider it one of the best college sports towns I've ever been to. So anyway, there's a podcast for NC State, Locked on Wolfpack, and a guy by the name of Grayson Boone, who I took. I didn't like some of his comments that he made the other day. In particular, he called our city of Greenville trash.
Oh wow!
And that really pissed me off because it's you're talking about one of the great college towns in America. So we reached out to Grayson. I reached out to him directly. I
followed it up with our official Twitter page.
Absolutely, you guys followed it up. I appreciate that, and we asked him directly to come on the show and address those comments. Because listen, whatever I say on this show, if an opponent called me and asked me to come on their show to clarify anything, I would do it in a second.
Exactly.
I'll put my money where my mouth is. But clearly, hey, Grayson Boone declined.
Did he play there? What's his background? Do you know?
I don't think he played.
No, he's a kid. He didn't play there.
Yeah.
Okay, he's a kid. All right. Well,
so he didn't want to put his money where his mouth is, right?
What he was trying to do, Matt, listening to it, he was trying to cut a promo. He was trying to be Kyle from LaGrange, and look, there's only one originator. Don't try to be a duplicator. Do your own thing, Grayson. You're never going to be Kyle from LaGrange. And here's the thing. Just listening to him try to cut the promo. Here's Grayson's problem, okay? Here's Grayson's problem. Here's NC State's problem. They're the number 3 team in their own market. People in Raleigh, Durham, Triangle, Chapel Hill, the Triangle market, this is in order what they care about. First, they care about basketball. That's what really gets them hard over there. 2, Carolina. Carolina carries the Triangle. UNC, the Tar Heels. The second most popular team in the Triangle is Duke. It's Duke. So you're number 3 in your own market. You feel irrelevant in your own market. So you're, of course, intimidated by East Carolina and little old Greenville in a group of 5 conference who manages to beat you in bowl games and take even more of your presence away in your own media market, which you're number 3 in your own media market. And you call Greenville a trash city. Well, you know what? That's your opinion. And maybe we are just little old Greenville, but we are number 1 in our market, baby. We're not an afterthought like NC State is in the Triangle. And when it's all said and done, win or lose, you're still going to be number 3 in your media market. With all the resources you have, you're overpaid and you're underachieving. That is the definition of NC State: overpaid and underachieving. If we had if we had the resources NC State did, we'd win our conference every year. They're in the ACC and they can do nothing with it. So, win or lose, we're still the Pirates. We're still the Rebels from the East, and we'll be rocking and rolling and strutting and strolling while you're over there being the Wolfpack.
Hey guys,
if you win.
1974, NC State won their first national championship, right? So they win the national championship. And Norm Sloan was asked, why did you leave NC State? Because, you have a big program. You've won a national championship. He said... In basketball, yeah. And he said, because he would always be number 2 to Dean Smith.
Yeah, well, they're number 3. They're number 3.
Yeah. And another thing, too, guys, is ask NC State. If you look at Duke and North Carolina, ask NC State how many national championships they won. Like 2? The 2 national.
Hey, look, that's great. Look, talking national championships, Mike, to NC State sounds goofy coming from us because God knows our basketball program is trash. But, certainly in their market, that's their biggest problem is their own paranoia in the Triangle about being number 3 in the Triangle. So they really hate us when we come in and steal any more shine off of them. That's their biggest problem. That's when you get right down to it and you really analyze it, their biggest problem with us is they already are in the shadow of UNC and Duke. And then when we beat them, we even cast a larger shadow on them and they can't stand it. And that's the truth of the matter.
I remember when Tom, what was Tom last name, the football coach?
Tom O'Brien?
Yeah. When he was fired, one of the local radio stations, sports stations, had, a call-in show, and there's a caller called in and was talking about, how he was underachieving and they should be as big as Ohio State. And I said, no. And that's the problem with NC State. They don't know their identity. They don't know who they are. they think that they should. Speaking of national championships, I will not put my house or my children's lives on NC State ever winning a national championship in football. I'm sorry, but it's not going to happen. And like you could put your as much as I'm not a fan of Dave Doran is not the problem. You just got to get used to the fact that you should have won ACC championships before Florida State. Then Florida State comes in, and then they're winning all the time. And then you look after that, look how good Clemson's been with Dabo Swinney, and they're going to win the ACC again this year. Dabo's finally embraced, thankfully for the Clemson fans and the program, the portal. So he's got his act together. So watch out for Clemson this year being strong in the playoffs. So, yeah, I agree. Look at this, what Phil said.
Yeah, I won't say ever. Ever's a very long time, but it's going to take a lot. Their biggest problem is they don't know what they are. They're a basketball school, football school. But anyway, let's move on from NC State. We got to talk about them plenty more on Wednesday as we start to wrap this up. We wanted to talk about a couple other topics real fast. Week 0 games yesterday, guys.
Okay.
There was, you had Kansas State, Iowa State, ugly game early from Ireland. That field got all tore to hell. A lot of rain over there. The smoke kind of hung around the stadium for the whole first quarter because of the moisture in the air. Fireworks got shut off. But it was an entertaining game, particularly in the fourth quarter. Then you had UNLV almost get upset by Idaho State. I don't know how many people had a chance to watch that one because it was on the Mountain West Network streaming. But Idaho State had every opportunity to beat UNLV. I think they ended up losing 38-31. But almost a big upset there for UNLV. Dan Mullen's first year, a lot of people picked them second in the Mountain West behind Boise, and they almost lose to Idaho State week 1. And then last night, CBS primetime, there was 2 other games. There was Kansas and Fresno, which was a blowout by Kansas. And then Middle Tennessee and Western put up a bunch of points, Western Kentucky. That guy was going to be our head coach if Blake Harrell hadn't got the job. But Western Kentucky put up a lot of points on Sam Houston. And did I say Middle Tennessee a minute ago?
Yeah.
I'm thinking of the rivalry between Middle and Western Kentucky and Sam Houston. But the game that at least I think we want to talk about, guys, is Hawaii Stanford.
Oh, yeah.
That last week, I did say that Hawaii would beat Stanford here live on the air.
Toot.
Look at that. Dave had to leave for that. He couldn't even say it. But so Hawaii beat Stanford. Quarterback got injured. That's kind of what I wanted to ask you guys about. Hawaii's quarterback got injured early in that game, and they continued to play him on I don't know the exact injury. I didn't see the injury would happen, but it looked to me like it was the back of his ankle and his heel because he had trouble walking and he had trouble pushing off the pass, but he could run. So I would assume it would be the back of his ankle and his heel. But what did you guys think of them playing him injured like that? I mean, looks like he's a really good quarterback. He's a young kid, but and Hawaii won. But what did you guys think about? Is it worth risking a kid's the rest of his season to beat Stanford? I mean, I know it's an ACC opponent. They hadn't beat a Power 4 school in years. But what did you guys think about them playing him with that injury?
I didn't like it. I mean, being it was the first game, but I know you're playing Stanford and you want to get the win and all that, but I don't know how serious it is. Like you said, Kyle, I didn't like taking a risk like that with that in the first game. I don't know how Matt feels about it.
It's one of those things for me, Stevie. Like you got to be able to look the player in the face and talk to him and see how he's feeling. And it's hard to say if it was like a mild ankle sprain, I guess I'm okay with it. If it's the potential of something more, then you got to have the doctors intervene there. But gutsy performance. It reminded me a little bit of like Byron Leftwich, hobbling around the field years ago and
carried on the field. Yeah.
Yeah. That kid showed a lot of heart, loved it. Who he reminds me of a little bit, and he's not nearly as good yet, but just in terms of the lefty motion, his ability, he reminds me a little bit of Dylan Gabriel.
Yeah.
Yes. Same type of arm slot, like not a cannon for an arm, but he can get it out there. I was happy to see Hawaii win because
me too.
When Timmy Chang took over that program a few years ago, that program was dead in the water. They were awful. So he's done a nice job kind of getting them back here to respectability. JR, what do you think?
Okay. I would like to save my remaining time for the Western Kentucky game because I was into that one. Okay, so remember this name, Maverick McIver.
Yeah, he's a hell of a quarterback.
Maverick McIver.
So,
what a name, too.
Here's the situation. Western Kentucky got raided. Their offensive coordinator went to Coastal. Their quarterback, Caton Beltcamp, went to Florida Atlantic. So they went to Abilene Christian, got their offensive coordinator. He brought his quarterback with him, Maverick. And the dude threw 51 times, 401 yards, 3 touchdowns, and then he ran in a touchdown. I know it's Sam Houston State. Last year, Sam Houston State had like the number 2 or 3 defense in the nation, but their coordinator's now at North Texas. So I'm not sure how good they are to compare those numbers to, but I'm going to keep my eye on them nonetheless.
Yeah, he put up big numbers at Abilene last year. And, Western's head coach.
That's your guy.
Yeah, he was going to be our head coach. And it wasn't not just my guy. That was going to happen. That's who Gilbert was going to hire had Blake not done what he did. I mean, it was.
But you were on that.
I was.
I feel like before everybody, you were kind of on that.
I was. He's somebody that
I'll give you credit.
Thank you, Coach Helton. I thought he would be a good fit, and I don't know if me talking him up had anything to do with Gilbert wanting to hire him. I doubt it, but that was going to happen. That wasn't a rumor. That was we had confirmation from people in the know that the conversations were ongoing, and the things happened with Blake, and after that North Texas game, things changed, and Blake got the job, and Coach Helton, stayed at Western Kentucky. But he's a wonderful coach. He makes really good hires, and he really knows how to work the portal, and that's why I thought he would work so well here because he's lost several coaches and coordinators. He hires good people, and he works the portal, and he'll get his opportunity somewhere down the line. I certainly hope Blake works out here, so I hope it's not here. But he's a guy that would have done a great job here, but I think Blake will do the same. And JR, it would have been interesting to see in that world, things don't play out so well. If he's the head coach here for Caton, Maverick might be here right now. It may be Maverick and Caton competing for a starting job, but I'm glad things worked out like they did. But I wish for nothing but continued success for Coach Helton at Western Kentucky.
Yeah.
So, guys, Dave, I don't know. He checked out here. I don't know what happened, if he's going to be back with us or not. But is there any week one games?
Kids needed his attention a little bit there, so he'll probably be back.
Okay. Is there any week one games you guys quickly want to point out? Obviously, there's some big ones. LSU Clemson.
Yeah, LSU Clemson is kind of the marquee matchup there. Number 9 versus number 4 Saturday night. So that's one. And another thing, another Thursday night game we should be paying close attention to is Boise State at South Florida as well.
Yeah. Boise, obviously the favorites who represent the so-called Group of 5 in the playoffs. South Florida is supposed to be very much improved this year, so that's another big one. Any other games coming up Saturday? One that interests me, Friday night, 2 new head coaches being played in Charlotte. App State against Charlotte. They're going to be playing that at Bank of America Stadium, not at Charlotte Stadium. So App State Charlotte Friday night is one that I'll be interested in. And then, of course, of other local interest, Carolina takes on TCU Labor Day night.
The Bill Belichick era begins. And look, what about Saturday at noon too? This could be a potential you don't want to say it this early in the year, but national championship or playoff deciding game here, Texas and Ohio State, number 1 versus number 3.
Yeah, that's a pretty big one too.
I would say that was at Ohio State, defending national champions.
Yeah.
Arch Manning, who had 2 starts and going into this year is
he's going the Heisman because he had 2 starts.
Yeah. It's kind of like Shador being the Hall of Fame NFL quarterback after that one preseason game.
Hey, I'll tell you an interesting one. Our friends down at Southern Miss has basically got half of the Marshall team last year and their head coach that won the Sun Belt. They bring in Blake Anderson, former head coach Utah State, Arkansas State. He was the OC at Southern Miss. He's going to be their OC. I really like their staff, and I really like their offense. They open up with a Mississippi State team that's not going to be good at all in Hattiesburg. We know what that game means. And, this may be the last time Southern Miss ever gets to host Mississippi State. I'm not calling the upset in that one, but keep an eye on that score.
Would love to see that. Would love to see it. I'll tell you, certainly not the biggest game, but the one I have a lot of interest in is Coastal at Virginia.
Yep.
Yeah, me too.
That's at 6 o'clock on the ACC network on Saturday. And, we were talking a little bit earlier about how big this NC State game is.
Yeah.
Guys, to me, and we talked about this before.
100, Matt, 100.
You know where I'm going with this, Kyle.
Yeah.
That Coastal game is the most pivotal. I won't say it's the most important, but I'll say it's the most pivotal game on our schedule, especially
unless we beat NC State. If we beat NC State, then look, if we look, you can't overlook anybody, but you assume we're going to beat Campbell. No disrespect to Campbell, but we better beat them. So it's if we're heading into Conway, South Carolina to take on the Chandeliers, and we're 1-1. Coastal, I agree with you, Matt, is the most important game, I won't say of the year, but of the early season. Because you got BYU the following week, so that's going to be a tough one. So if games, we're not conceding to NC State, we're not conceding to BYU. I want to make that very clear. But if you point out the way things go based on who's going to be favored, you're going to lose to State, you're going to beat Campbell, and then you're likely going to lose to BYU. So that Coastal game, you want to be 2-2 out of your first 4. And then if you can get NC State or BYU or get them both, then God only knows what'll happen. But yeah, I'm with you, Matt. That Coastal game in 3 weeks is huge. A lot of Pirates are going. I'm going to be there. JR, you're going to be there. I think Bubba's going to be there. A lot of Pirates are going to that Coastal game. I think we're going to take the stadium only holds 20,000. I think we're going to have 5,000 to 8,000 Pirates there. I think easy. So I think it'll be almost like a bowl environment.
Now, just to kind of piggyback on that for a second. So we're in total agreement about how big that Coastal game is. But does anybody know, have they announced the kickoff time for BYU yet?
Not yet. That should be coming probably if not this week, it'll be the following week.
Because I'll tell you guys, and again, this is something we've talked about now because we've been talking about this stuff for a month or so. But again, you win that Coastal game, right? Regardless of what happens against NC State, you now get BYU home. If you can get them for a noon kickoff, and I don't know what that's looking like at this point, but that's a team they got to come across country and play in that Eastern North Carolina heat. I feel very good about that game.
Yeah. Hey, Matt.
Quarterback.
Yeah. I was just going to say, we all know Portland State is a terrible FCS team. We know that.
Stanford.
Portland State. We know they're terrible. Okay.
Yeah, but I'm saying BYU plays Stanford after that.
Oh, I know they do. We know that Stanford wasn't overwhelming. My point I was going to make is they have 2 home games, BYU, Stanford and Portland State. And then their first road game for this rookie quarterback who's a freshman transfer. I mean, that doesn't happen. He's a true freshman and he transferred. So he didn't get here till late. So I don't even know how much camp time he had. He's going to be in Dowdy-Ficklin. I don't know how that's going to go for him.
Yeah, and that was kind of my point, JR. You're saying Portland State. Stanford looks like they're the drizzling shits also. So he is not going to have seen very good competition by the time he walks in here. They're top 25. I mean, it sets up for an opportunity for us to have a very special moment. But long ways to go between now and then. And who knows? He might look like Eli Manning, or I don't know why I chose him. Somebody like that. And I don't know why I chose Eli Manning. We'll go Peyton Manning. He might look like Peyton Manning in his first 2 starts, but yeah, first true road test, or first road test for him, and long ways to travel from Provo, and so who knows? But a lot of football to be played between now and then. But I
just get the win Thursday night.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, but to your point, I was going to say. Now I'm rambling. Matt, you mentioned the UVA Coastal game. Very interested to see. I like the moves Coastal made in the offseason. I like the quarterbacks they brought in. They brought in a couple transfer quarterbacks. I love their defensive coordinator hire. They hired him from Louisiana Tech. Louisiana Tech played really good defense last year. So I do like the moves they've made. I don't know how good their depth is. I think that's going to be the difference between us and Coastal. I think we have better depth. But I am interested to see how they play against UVA Saturday night at 6 p.m.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Hey, so I didn't get to give my. I'm going to take the leftovers. I didn't really get to say, and I'm going to be quick about this. The games I'm interested in watching that haven't been mentioned. I want to see who got the better deal of the Nico Iamalava and Joey Aguilar trade. So I'm going to watch Utah and UCLA and Syracuse and Tennessee. And then my third game is Tarleton State. And we just said Portland State's not good. Tarleton State beat them 42-0.
Yeah.
They're playing Army. This is Army's first game. They have another quarterback from Texas. This guy's a senior. But, Army, you have to be a running quarterback to be successful. He's only averaging 3.4 yards per carry, and the limited carries he's had 42 carries. I'm just interested in seeing what we're going to have when we face them. Like how I don't think he's going to be anywhere near what they're losing. So I'm just interested in that to see what he's going to look like.
That is a really good call. That is very interesting to see how because that offense, the quarterback last year made them go without question. When it was 3rd and 2, he was so hard to bring down. He would fall forward for 2 yards. He was so strong. So I agree, man. Just to see what they look like with another quarterback is going to be interesting.
You don't replace a quarterback like that easily. And our opponent next week is the Campbell Fighting Camels, and I believe they open up with Rhode Island on the road. I don't think if somebody can confirm that, but I'm pretty sure they do. So that'll be one to keep an eye on.
All right.
I was out to Rhode Island's practice last week, fellas.
Do they play Campbell in week 1? Am I right on that?
Hold on, I'm looking.
I can't remember if it's week 1 or week 2. Let me. I'll say this: I was pretty impressed with Rhode Island with what I saw. Former ECU coach Jim Fleming up there as the head coach and running a short practice. So
Friday at 6, Kyle.
Friday at 6. There you go. ESPN Plus. I'm assuming.
I don't see where.
Well, it would have to be. Don't worry about it. It is. I think they. Anyway, yes. Campbell plays Rhode Island Friday, so that'll be an interesting one to keep the score on. To keep an eye on the score. Also, Rhode Island's a quality FCS program, so Campbell is competitive in that one. It's probably something to be aware of as we play the Camels next Saturday.
All right. Well, we're going to have a preview. Don't forget on Wednesday nights, and we'll have that for you around 8:00, guys. And I assume everybody, Johnny, Kyle, Matt, Stevie, you guys all going to be back?
Planning on it.
I'll be here unless something happens.
All right. We're going to have
it's 8:00, correct? 8:00?
Yeah,
8:00. 8:00 on Wednesday night, and we will have a pre-recorded interview with Jim Zoki and a pre-recorded interview with Noah. What's his last name again?
Fleischman.
From the Wolfpacker.com.
Yeah.
So we'll have 2 interviews there, and then we'll also give a little bit more inside info on what we think of NC State, East Carolina, and give our official predicted scores.
I may not be here Wednesday night because I might be driving down there. So
there you go.
I'll let y'all know.
Well, JR, you said earlier you were going to participate in the interview with Noah.
Yeah, I can. That's earlier in the day, though, right?
4:30.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I could do it while driving. That could be dangerous, though. I might say.
We may not have any JR. We may or may not have pre-recorded JR. We may not have any JR Wednesday night, but the rest of us will be here.
Okay. I'll do my best.
No pressure, JR. If you can't participate, you can't participate.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, great show as always. And by the way, the participation for the show, as far as our viewers, listeners, our social media comments, thank you so much. It's amazing the difference what football makes, guys. It definitely stirs the drink at East Carolina No doubt about it. You can look at just the viewers tonight means so much. And we'll have a lot of great shows for you as always. And
yeah, and for those people who are still listening, Dave, just to jump in, please hit the like button. It helps with the algorithm with YouTube. So please, as they say, smash the like button.
Yeah, and go to our subscribe, yes, and go to our Facebook page. It's on our Facebook page or Twitter. I have a contest. Name who you think is going to score the first offensive touchdown for ECU this season. And if you get the player right, you'll be put in for a drawing to win an autographed poster, autographed Military Bowl championship poster signed by Coach Blake Harrell, Caden Hauser, and Roger Harris. So just go to our Facebook page or either our X account. You'll see. Just look for the poll and put your answer. And then, if you get the answer correct, we'll have multiple people get the answer correct, and then we'll choose a winner from the people who got it correct.
I thought they were going to get a date with Kyle, but
only if you're an attractive female.
How about a date with Dave Richmond? How about that?
There you go. Exactly.
Yeah.
No, I'll let Kyle do that. All right, guys. I appreciate you all very much. I had a lot of fun. Been looking forward to the show all day, and went by very, very fast. We'll see you back Wednesday night, and who knows? We get a big win on Thursday night. We might come in right after the game. You never know.
Look, if we win Thursday night, I'm gonna call it here, Dave. Unless you some bitches can't stay up. If we win Thursday night, we'll say it now, and we'll stick to it. It might only be 15 minutes, but we will do a special live broadcast if we pull off the win Thursday night.
All right, sounds good. You heard it for breaking news. You heard it first from Kyle. All right, guys, thank you so much. We appreciate you all. And
hey, Kyle, hold Dave, don't you want to tell Brandon Forbush we need to wish him happy birthday?
Yeah, Brandon, if you're still
happy
listening.
birthday, Brandon.
Yeah, Brandon, if you're still listening, buddy, happy birthday. I know it was your birthday Saturday. Hope you had a good one. And if you happen to miss this, somebody let him know.
Yeah.
But how would he know? How would you know if he missed it? I'll message Brandon after this and see if he heard it.
All right, guys. We'll see. He
heard it. He's there.
All right, good deal. Happy birthday, Brandon.
All right, thanks to everybody. Appreciate you. We'll see you back on Wednesday night. Until then, we have a lot of great fun with you. And I'm trying to get the close here. I don't have.
You've been listening to the Sports Objective Podcast.
There we go.
Goodbye.
Right. It's normally set for me. Good night, everybody, and go Pirates.
You're watching the Sports Objective, the podcast for Pirates.